Azealia Banks has never been a stranger to controversy, but this time she lit a fire that crossed industries. In a series of explosive Instagram posts, the fiery rapper accused UFC legend Conor McGregor of sending her explicit photos. The internet erupted, MMA fans, celebrity blogs, Twitter threads. Everyone had something to say. Was this just another attention-grabbing move from Azealia, the queen of online feuds? Or was there truth behind the headlines, something that could shake McGregor's polished image as a family man? For those who've followed Azealia's career, this was hardly surprising. Behind the brash tweets and viral rants is an artist with undeniable talent, but also a pattern of self-destruction. She's been called a genius, a troublemaker, a lost cause. But here's the real question. How did a girl from Harlem who once revolutionized female rap become more famous for her scandals than her songs? Azealia Banks was born in 1991, the youngest of three sisters, in the heart of Harlem, New York. Her father died when she was just 2 years old, leaving her mother overwhelmed and often abusive, a fact Azealia would later speak about with raw honesty. Music became her refuge. At age 10, she was acting in off-Broadway theatre, but it wasn't the stage lights that captured her. It was the rhythm, the wordplay, the feeling of making something entirely her own. By her teens, Azealia was skipping school to write rhymes, recording demos on a borrowed computer. She dropped out of LaGuardia High School of Music and Art, the fame school, determined to make it on her own. In 2011, everything changed. Her breakout single, 212, was a thunderclap. With its pounding house beats, raunchy lyrics, and sharp-tongued delivery, it didn't sound like anything on the charts. The music video, shot in gritty black and white, featured Azealia with an infectious grin, flipping between charm and menace. She wasn't trying to be likable, she was trying to be undeniable. The song caught fire across Europe before it hit big in the US. Critics hailed her as the future of female rap. Pitchfork praised her raw talent. NME called her a genre bender. Even Kanye West took notice, privately praising her as one of the most exciting new voices. But even as the praise poured in, insiders noticed something else. Azealia had a restless, defiant energy. She pushed back against producers. She complained publicly about label delays. She called out injustice, but also picked unnecessary fights. The world saw a rising star. But under the surface, Azealia was already burning with the frustration and fury that would soon define her public image. By 2012, Azealia Banks was no longer just an underground sensation. She was a global name. Off the back of 212, she became one of the most talked-about new artists in the world. Her debut EP, 1991, was hailed as a masterpiece, blending club-ready beats with sharp lyricism and a fashion-forward image. Critics called her a genre disruptor, someone effortlessly merging rap, house, and electronic in a way no one else was doing. She wasn't just in music circles, she was in fashion magazines, front rows and ad campaigns. Designers like Alexander Wang and Mugler embraced her as a muse, captivated by her edgy style and no-apologies attitude. Her music videos oozed charisma and unpredictability, making her a visual as much as a musical force. Behind the scenes, even the biggest names were paying attention. Kanye West was reportedly a fan, and collaborations loomed on the horizon. Major festivals like Coachella and Glastonbury booked her. Brands lined up deals. Labels competed to sign her. At just 21, Azealia Banks was a symbol of the future, young, fearless, untamed. But alongside her rise, her reputation was hardening. Azealia was never one to play by the rules. She openly feuded with fellow artists, most famously with Iggy Azalea, accusing her of cultural appropriation, a criticism that sparked massive online debates. She clashed with producers, complained about label politics, and used Twitter as both a weapon and a stage. What made it complex was that much of her anger wasn't baseless. Azealia raised real issues: racism in the music industry, exploitation, artistic control. But her delivery, confrontational, raw, sometimes cruel, alienated many who might have been allies. In this moment, Azealia Banks was at her most powerful, most visible, and most volatile. The world was watching and waiting to see if she'd soar higher or self-destruct. Her social media presence, podcast appearances, and music blog mentions turned into a battleground. No one was off limits: celebrities, journalists, politicians, even entire fan bases. She went after Cardi B, Lana Del Rey, Zayn Malik, and even Sky Jackson, a Disney Channel teen at the time, in public rants that swung from biting social critique to outright personal attacks. But the chaos wasn't confined to the internet. Azealia was kicked off festival lineups after using homophobic slurs during spats with other artists. She faced multiple suspensions from online platforms for violating hate speech policies. In real life, her volatility made headlines. The most infamous case came in 2015 when she allegedly bit a female bouncer at a New York nightclub, leading to assault charges and another wave of public backlash. Perhaps most bewildering was how she alienated the very communities that once lifted her up. Azealia made Islamophobic remarks, praised Donald Trump, and antagonized LGBTQ groups, despite once being hailed as a queer ally and cultural voice for the marginalized. With every scandal, her artistic credibility eroded until the conversation was no longer about her music, but her latest implosion. By 2024, when she accused UFC superstar Conor McGregor of sending her explicit photos, the public didn't react with shock. They reacted with exhaustion. For many, Azealia Banks had become a cautionary tale, not just of wasted talent, but of self-sabotage on a grand stage. A brilliant artist, undone not by her critics, but by her own unrelenting impulse to burn every bridge she crossed. By the late 2010s, Azealia Banks had become a paradox. She was an artist whose talent was never in doubt, and yet her career was in near constant freefall. After years of label deals collapsing, Azealia turned to independence. She self-released music, including the acclaimed Slay-Z mixtape and singles like Anna Wintour, which critics called a reminder of her brilliance. But every time the music pulled people back in, the next controversy pushed them away. She explored other ventures too, launching a line of homemade soaps, dabbling in acting, and even selling personal items as NFTs. On Instagram Live, she shared raw, unfiltered thoughts, sometimes about spirituality, sometimes about mental health, sometimes about fellow celebrities. It was hard to tell where the art ended and the spectacle began. Her relationship with her fan base became strained. The LGBTQ community, once her most loyal supporters, felt betrayed by her inflammatory comments. Music insiders admired her talent but feared working with her. For every brilliant verse or track she dropped, there were headlines about cancelled shows, legal troubles, or new online feuds. And yet Azealia remained present. She never disappeared the way some fallen stars do. Instead, she lingered at the edges of pop culture, unpredictable, magnetic, chaotic. To her core fans, she was still a genius, still ahead of her time. To the broader public, she was a cautionary figure, embodying both the power and the peril of unfiltered fame. As of 2025, after the Conor McGregor accusations, Azealia continues to spark debate. Some wonder if a proper comeback is still possible. Others think her legacy is already set, not just as a rapper or singer, but as a symbol of what happens when raw talent collides with rage, pain, and a world that never looks away. Azealia Banks's story is not an easy one to summarize. She was never just a rapper, never just a provocateur, never just a cautionary tale. She was all of these at once, a brilliant, chaotic force that defied easy categories. From the streets of Harlem to the heights of global fame, Azealia carved out her place with raw talent, unmatched energy, and a sharpness that both dazzled and wounded. She called out industry racism before it was trendy. She fused genres before mainstream music caught up. She spoke her mind and paid the price. But here's the harder question. Did the industry break Azealia, or did she break herself? Fame is a double-edged sword. For every artist lifted up by the spotlight, there's the risk of collapse under its glare. And Azealia, with her mix of genius and rage, seemed to carry both her rise and her fall inside her from the start. Some still believe in her comeback. They see her as a visionary, misunderstood, ahead of her time. Others have written her off as the ultimate self-saboteur. But maybe the deeper truth is this. Azealia Banks holds up a mirror to the music industry, to the media, to all of us. She forces us to ask uncomfortable questions. Why do we love a star who burns bright and crashes hard? And when we lift someone up as a symbol, do we leave them room to be human? Her story isn't over, but whatever comes next, it will never erase the mark she's already left.